Hey, how many readers do you have in your newsletter list? If your answer is what newsletter list, let's talk about that in another video. In today's video, I want to give you an option to grow your email list. But before I do that, hey, I'm Jay Nicole, a romance author of over 40 books. I should probably stop saying over 40 now and really count because I might be pretty close to 50. By the end of this year, I'll definitely be there. Anyways, in this video, I want to talk to you about how to grow your reader list. As you know, your email list is golden. These readers are subscribed to your list looking to hear from you regularly. And by regularly, I mean whatever that looks like to you. So if it's weekly, if it's monthly, if it's quarterly, let's hope it's more than once a year or every time you have a release. Because if they've subscribed, they likely want to hear from you semi-often. One thing I did was actually ask my readers once my newsletter list grew how often they wanted to hear from me. Some people said quarterly, some people said monthly, and I typically do a monthly newsletter, and for those who want to see something quarterly, I send it to them once a quarter. And they just basically get whatever that email is for that month when the quarter falls. So for instance, if it's March, which is the end of the quarter, then they'll get the March email that I already prepared for all of the monthly readers. Either way, pick something, whatever frequency you like, and stick to it. I'll talk about newsletters in another video because obviously that is important, right? For today, though, we're going to talk about how to grow that list. So, how do you grow it? Right? So how do you find people to give you their email address? We know that emails are like the golden key. We don't want tons of spam in our email address, in our inbox. We don't want things that we're not going to read. If you're anything like me, if your readers are anything like me, they will automatically unsubscribe, move you to spam, and keep it moving. But we want something that they are going to read, right? And for them to give that email address to you, it has to be pretty big stuff, right? Yeah, some people will create just kind of like a throwaway email address and use that to sign up for things. But in the grand scheme of things, it's likely that majority of the people who will end up on your list will be people who want to hear from you. And that's what we want. So how do we get more of those people subscribing to our list? One way we can do that is by adding a link to the back of a book. So if you have a book out and already available, you can update that to include a link to your newsletter list. From there, they'll go to your website or wherever your newsletter is housed or your list is housed. They'll give you your email, their email address, and boom, they're on your email list. Another way is sharing it on social. So that link in bio, add your newsletter sign up to that, and whenever they're reading one of your social posts, watching you on TikTok, looking in your Facebook group, whatever, they can click on that link and sign up to your newsletter. Another way is BookFunnel or Newsletter Swaps. So BookFunnel is just a website that kind of organizes newsletter swaps and group promos. If you're not familiar with BookFunnel, I'll definitely add the link in my description so that you can go over there and check them out. They have a free service and a paid subscription. I can't recall what the difference is, so make sure that you check that out. I always go with free until I know that I'm going to use it, and then I upgrade. Unless you're just, bringing all the money, raking it in, your books are doing really well, I suggest always starting with the free options and upgrading once you realize it's either beneficial to you and or you're actually going to be using it. So for instance, if you haven't nailed your newsletter list and the frequency that you are sending it out, I wouldn't suggest subscribing to BookFunnel yet. But once you have all those ducks in a row, then go ahead and subscribe if that's something that you need. But free may work for you. So on BookFunnel, they have the ability to sign up for newsletter swaps. So newsletter swaps, there's a couple of different options and things that you can do with BookFunnel. The first thing is you can sign up to be on another author's newsletter, just direct. So for instance, author A, me, I have a newsletter, and author B has a newsletter, and I say, hey, I want to feature you in my newsletter. So they'll give me their link, the images, whatever they want me to include in my newsletter, and vice versa. And we swap and we agree to a specific date that we're going to share. So, for instance, I'm going to pick the first of the month, they're going to pick the 15th. Why those dates are important is because when they send out their newsletter, you can kind of gauge what feedback you get. So how many people sign up with their link. And I believe BookFunnel, for those specific newsletter swaps, it will give you a specific link so that you can track how many people are actually coming from that swap. Because nothing is worse than swapping with someone who's not going to share it. Because that is the key, and I'll talk about that a little later in the video. That's the first option, newsletter swaps, direct newsletter swaps. The second option is group promos, and that's where you say, okay, I have a book on Amazon or whatever, and we're going to create a sales page. And the sales promo is basically a bunch of authors get together and they include their books on a list. So this would be kind of like a recommendation. You would include this in your newsletter as well as the other authors would include it in their newsletter. And essentially what you're banking on is those other authors have readers that you haven't reached yet. And if that's the case, then those readers will see your books and click because they trust the author that sent this newsletter to them, so they'll trust to go and check out those books. And once they see your book amongst the list, hopefully the cover and the blurb will entice them enough to grab that book. The thing about the sales promo through BookFunnel is that it's just a link to that book. It is not collecting any email addresses because for this is a paid purchase. So essentially the benefit is they're buying your book. And in that book, though, you'll have your newsletter link. So that's a good thing. But typically when you're asking someone to give you their email address, unless it's direct on your website where they're making a purchase and you have their email address, you can ask them if they'd like to also be subscribed to your newsletter. Otherwise, if they're buying something, likely you're not sending them your monthly newsletter unless they've asked to receive that. So be very careful about that. The other thing is the third option on BookFunnel is a group newsletter promo, which I believe they call something like a newsletter builder. And with this newsletter builder, what you can do is same thing as the group promo. A number of authors will sign up for this and they'll have like themes like summer sexy romance, or fall cozy sweet romance, or Halloween spooky romance, whatever the case may be. Somehow they're grouping all of these books together and then doing the same thing. They're sending it out to their readers and you're sending it out to your readers. And on this option, you are actually providing a leader magnet, so a free book that reader will say, ooh, I want to read that, and it's free, so I'm not losing anything by giving you my email address. The only thing that will happen is that I will receive emails from you. So essentially, you'll grow your newsletter list, and then they'll come into your sequence of your regularly scheduled newsletters that you'll send out. Caveat with this, like I said earlier, some people will give you a fake email address, maybe never check it. Some people may give you an email address and to get the free book and then unsubscribe, but a majority of people will stay on your list. So there's nothing to worry about that. And later on another video, maybe I'll talk about building your newsletter list, the sequence that you can create to welcome them to your newsletter list, and then how to manage unsubscribes. I should probably write all that down because I'll probably forget later, but stay tuned, we'll get to that. So those are the three options that you have. So you have, again, I'll reiterate, you have the newsletter swap direct, so one-to-one between the authors. You have the sales promo where you're sending them to a distributor like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Google, whatever, wherever your book is, and the reader will buy from that directly. Or the third option, which is a group promo where you're swapping with multiple authors for a leader magnet, and the readers are providing their email address for you, and hopefully your newsletter list is growing exponentially. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? For the group, for all of the pages or things except for the first option, which is the direct newsletter swap, because the only thing here is you're basically adding an image to your newsletter for your readers to see, and vice versa for the other author. But for the sales promo and the newsletter builder, BookFunnel will actually build out a landing page, so you not only have the opportunity to share this on your email and your newsletters, but also on your social media. So I like to add a post to social media that say, hey, free books on Friday. And then on my link in my bio, I'll add a direct link to that newsletter, to that landing page, which is great because people can go there and then pick the books they want, add their email, and read those at their leisure. And likewise, the other authors are likely doing the same thing, so that you have more people coming to that page, more people seeing your book, picking up your book, etc. The other caveat here is finding a group promo, an author, or however you're doing your swaps of people that are like you, like your books. It would make not too much sense if you write steamy romance to jump on a sweet romance group promo, because one, it'll be misleading to the readers who are receiving it, and two, those readers have likely joined that author's newsletter because they like their writing. So if you offer them something that's totally not like what they're used to seeing, they're likely not going to engage. They're not going to provide you their email. But on the flip side, even if they do provide you their email and they read your leader magnet or your book or even buy your book, and they're not typically that reader, there is a potential that they will give you a bad rating because it's not something they like, or they will, quickly jump off of your newsletter list. So you want to join like-minded swaps. It's not that you can't be introduced to someone who doesn't typically read your stuff, but that's almost like telling a romance reader, here's some sci-fi, and they're going, yeah, but I don't read that. They might pick it up, they might skim through the first couple pages, they could fall in love with it, but the chances are probably very slim. So we just want to offer our books to people who will like our reading and join our list, because we're going to be telling them about us, the author, and we're going to be telling them about the books that we're putting out, which are like the books they like to read, so they want to gobble it up. What else can I talk about with that? The leader magnet, I could probably talk about that before if I haven't already in one of my videos. I can't recall. But how to create that leader magnet, it's typically a short story. It could be a full book if you want to give that away for free. One caveat, if your leader magnet is available to these swaps, it cannot be in Kindle Unlimited, because that will break the terms of service with Kindle and Amazon. So it has to be outright free and not available on any website, or it has to be paid on the website. So for instance, I have a leader magnet. I add it to all of my newsletter swaps, etc., but it's also available on Amazon as paid. So I can't go to Amazon and be like, oh, you can also get it here for free. It has to honestly be a paid book that you're offering for free elsewhere, which is a benefit for them because they can go to Amazon and pay for it, or they can go to the newsletter and grab it for free. That's something else that you can also advertise to the people who follow you on social, who like your writing, to entice them to join your newsletter, because now they can read something for free for providing their email address. So as you can see, for the group promos, it's typically at least 10 or more authors that are joining these group promos. So you can see if each author had 100 readers on their newsletter list at least, then you're now growing and being seen by 1,000 people with just that one group promo. So you can see exponentially how this can grow your list if you're joining promos that have like readers included in them, and now your list will grow and grow and grow. So I tend to look for these promos on the monthly. I'm at least joining one. I don't like to overwhelm my readers with a ton of recommendations, because I do want them to see the information that I want to provide to them, and I don't want it to be like I'm just essentially spamming them with other people's books. So I join at least one a month, and I look for these on the monthly. I join them, and then I share them to my socials and to my newsletter. For those people who read my newsletter, it gives them an opportunity to engage with other authors, to meet new authors, and to read new books. One thing I always like to say is I like to feed the engine. So if readers like to read, especially for romance in particular, they are a very hungry group of readers, and they're reading so many books, typically a month, that I myself personally, even if they read my whole backlist, eventually they will need something else. So I like to give them other books that they would like to read. So that's something to keep in mind, to not feel like, by offering these books to your readers, that they'll kind of disengage with you. They'll likely continue to read and love your work, but they'll also have someone else to keep them engaged while they're waiting on your next release. If you have tried BookFunnel or something similar, I know there's probably some other website, product, etc. that's available like BookFunnel. If you've tried it, drop that name in my comments. If you tried BookFunnel and love it, drop that in my comments. Even if you don't love BookFunnel, drop why in my comments. I'd love to hear it. If this is all new to you and it sounds foreign and you need more information either on BookFunnel, leader magnets, how to grow your audience, and all this stuff that I'm talking about, drop it in the comments. I'd love to share more information about anything that you have questions on. And finally, if you want more details on anything author business related, feel free to what? You guessed it, drop me a comment and I will check that out and get back to you with a video as soon as possible. As always, thank you for watching. I really hope this has been helpful. BookFunnel is something that I committed to this year with growing my newsletter list, because I know and value the readers who follow me, the readers who provide their email address to me. So I know that it's a valuable asset to have, to be able to reach out to your readers individually, one-on-one, and allow them to hear from you more often than just a social media post, than your groups on Facebook, and then just reading your work. It's invaluable. Trust me on that. So please, I hope this has been helpful. Please check out BookFunnel or some type of newsletter swap that you can organize for yourself. And again, until the next video, have a great day.